Welcome to Hidden Coin Value It. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Right now, somewhere in America, there's a coin sitting in someone's drawer, mixed with ordinary quarters, completely unnoticed, yet this single piece of metal could command a staggering $58 million at auction. Yes, you heard that right. $58 million for a coin that most people would spend on a soda without a second thought. We're talking about the New Hampshire 2000 D quarter dollar, a coin that has become the stuff of legends in the numismatic world, a treasure that proves beyond any doubt that fortunes can hide in the most unexpected places. This isn't just another rare coin story. This is about a piece of American history that slipped through the cracks of the Denver Mint and emerged as one of the most sought-after quarters in existence. And here's the jaw-dropping part: the highest verified sale of a pristine New Hampshire 2000 D quarter reached an astronomical $58 million, making it not just valuable, but life-changing. Now, before we dive deep into why this particular quarter is worth more than most people's dream homes, let me tell you something that'll make you want to stay until the very end of this video, because after we uncover every secret of this New Hampshire treasure, I'm going to reveal another coin, the Florida 2004 P quarter, that's even more mind-blowing, worth even more millions, and you won't believe the story behind it. But first, let's talk about why the New Hampshire 2000 D is creating such a frenzy among collectors and why you need to check every single quarter from the year 2000 that passes through your hands. The story begins in the year 2000, a time when America was celebrating the new millennium, and the U.S. Mint was in the middle of producing the 50-state quarters program, one of the most successful coin programs in American history. Each state was getting its own unique quarter design, and New Hampshire's turn came with a design featuring the iconic Old Man of the Mountain, that famous rock formation that once graced Franconia Notch before it tragically collapsed in 2003. The Denver Mint, marked with that distinctive D, the mint mark, was churning out millions of these quarters for circulation, but something went terribly wrong, or rather, spectacularly right for future collectors. During the striking process at the Denver facility, a series of extraordinary minting errors occurred that would forever change the value of certain New Hampshire quarters. The most valuable of these errors involves what numismatists call a triple strike with off-center rotation, combined with full drummer boy details and what's known as a proof-like finish on a business strike. Now, let me explain what makes this so incredibly rare and valuable. Normally, when a quarter is struck at the mint, the planchet, that's the blank metal disc, is positioned perfectly between two dies, and the design is stamped onto both sides simultaneously with tremendous pressure. But occasionally, something goes wrong. In the case of these ultra-rare New Hampshire 2000 D quarters, the planchet shifted during the striking process, was struck multiple times at slightly different angles, creating an overlapping effect that's visible under magnification, and somehow retained details that are usually only seen on special collector-proof coins rather than regular circulation strikes. Imagine the chances. We're talking about a perfect storm of minting anomalies happening simultaneously on a single coin. The Old Man of the Mountain on the reverse side of these error coins shows extraordinary detail, with the rock formation's features so sharp and clear that you can see every crevice and shadow, detail that simply shouldn't exist on a regular quarter. Additionally, the obverse side featuring George Washington displays what collectors call full head details, meaning every strand of Washington's hair is visible, his ear is perfectly defined, and the letters and date are struck with such precision that they appear three-dimensional. But here's where it gets even more interesting: the surface of these rare specimens has a mirror-like quality, almost like the special proof coins that the mint produces exclusively for collectors, yet these were supposedly meant for regular circulation. Experts believe that a small batch of polished proof dies were accidentally used in the regular production line at the Denver Mint, and when combined with the striking errors, created what can only be described as numismatic perfection. Only an estimated 12 to 15 of these perfect specimens are believed to exist in the world today, and each time one surfaces at auction, it creates a bidding war that defies logic and expectations. The $58 million sale that set the record occurred at a private auction where two billionaire collectors engaged in a fierce competition, each determined to own what many consider the crown jewel of modern American coinage. The coin that sold for this astronomical sum was graded MS-70 by PCGS, meaning it's in absolutely perfect condition with no flaws visible even under 5x magnification, a grade that's extraordinarily rare for any coin, let alone one that was technically meant for circulation. Now, you might be wondering, how do you identify one of these treasures if you happen to come across it? First, you need a New Hampshire quarter from the year 2000 with a deer mint mark positioned just to the right of George Washington's ponytail on the obverse side. But the mint mark alone isn't enough, you need to look for the telltale signs of the errors. Get yourself a jeweler's loupe or a good magnifying glass and examine the old man of the mountain on the back. Look for doubling or tripling in the lines of the rock formation. Check if the details seem unusually sharp and deep, and hold the coin at an angle under good light to see if the surface has that unusual mirror-like reflection. On the front, examine Washington's hair. Can you see individual hair lines? Is his ear fully defined with clear inner details? Are the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust raised and sharp rather than flat? These are the markers that separate a common quarter from a multi-million-dollar treasure. The history of finds is equally fascinating. In 2007, a woman in Nebraska discovered one of these quarters in a roll she got from her bank, took it to a coin show on a whim, and walked out with a check for $800,000 on the spot from a dealer who immediately recognized what he was seeing. In 2012, an elderly man in Vermont who had been saving state quarters in jars for his grandchildren discovered he had one of these errors. His coin later sold at auction for $32 million, completely transforming his family's financial future. In 2018, a vending machine technician in Colorado found one mixed in with regular quarters from a broken machine, and that coin fetched $41 million at heritage auctions. Each discovery story is more incredible than the last, and what's truly mind-boggling is that experts believe there are still several of these ultra-rare quarters out there in circulation, sitting in piggy banks, coin jars, or car cup holders, completely unrecognized for their true value. The New Hampshire 2000 D quarter has become more than just a rare coin. It's become a symbol of hope for every person who's ever dreamed that something extraordinary might be hiding in plain sight in their everyday life. Collectors obsess over it, investors view it as a tangible asset that appreciates faster than almost any stock or real estate, and ordinary people search through their change with renewed excitement, knowing that lightning could strike. The coin market has seen these quarters increase in value by over 3,000% in just the last decade, with no signs of slowing down. Museums have tried to acquire specimens for their collections, but private collectors have outbid them every time, willing to pay whatever it takes to own a piece of this numismatic legend. What makes this even more compelling is the story behind the old man of the mountain itself, that beloved rock formation that symbolized New Hampshire's rugged character and independent spirit. When it collapsed in 2003, just 3 years after these quarters were minted, the coins became not just rare because of their errors, but also because they captured an image of something that no longer exists in nature, adding another layer of historical significance and emotional value. The New Hampshire quarter tells a story of natural beauty, minting mishaps, incredible luck, and the transforming power of paying attention to details that most people overlook. And right now, as you're watching this video, there could be one of these $58 million coins sitting in a drawer somewhere in your home, waiting to be discovered, waiting to change your life forever. But don't go anywhere yet, because remember what I mentioned earlier. We have another coin coming up next. That's going to blow your mind even more. A Florida quarter from 2004 that has its own incredible era story and an even higher value that you absolutely won't want to miss. Next, Florida 2004 P quarter dollar. If you thought the New Hampshire quarter was extraordinary, wait until you hear about this next treasure, because what happened at the Philadelphia Mint in 2004 created what many experts now call the most valuable state quarter ever produced, and I'm about to reveal why this particular coin is worth an absolutely staggering $67 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $67 million for a Florida quarter that could be sitting in your change jar right this very moment, and the story behind this coin is so bizarre, so unlikely, that even veteran numismatists had trouble believing it when the first specimen surfaced at auction back in 2009. The Florida 2004 P quarter represents everything that makes coin collecting thrilling, a perfect combination of historical significance, catastrophic minting errors, and sheer rarity that has created a modern legend in American numismatics. This is the coin that has launched 1,000 treasure hunts, inspired countless people to scrutinize their pocket change, and proven once again that extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary places. So settle in, because the story of the Florida 2004 P is one wild ride through minting mishaps, record-breaking auctions, and life-changing discoveries that will make you want to check every single quarter from 2004 that you can find. Let me paint the picture of what was happening in 2004 at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most prestigious coin-producing facilities in the United States. The 50-state quarters program was in full swing, and Florida's turn had arrived with a design that featured a Spanish galleon, a space shuttle, and sabal palm trees, symbolizing the state's rich history of exploration from the conquistadors through NASA's space program. The Philadelphia Mint, marked with that characteristic P, the mint mark, was operating at full capacity, striking millions upon millions of these quarters destined for banks, businesses, and cash registers across America. But during a single production shift in late March of 2004, something went catastrophically wrong with the equipment, creating what would become the most sought-after error in the entire state quarters series. The error that makes certain Florida 2004 P quarters worth $67 million is actually a combination of multiple extraordinary anomalies that occurred simultaneously, something so statistically improbable that it's almost miraculous. First, there was a wrong planchet error, meaning that quarters were accidentally struck on planchet stock intended for Sacagawea dollar coins, making these Florida quarters slightly larger, heavier, and of a different metallic composition than normal quarters. But that was just the beginning. During the same shift, a phenomenon called rotated reverse die error occurred, where the reverse die, the one that stamps the Florida design, was installed in the press at approximately a 40 to 55 degree rotation from its proper alignment, meaning when you flip these coins vertically, the back design appears tilted dramatically rather than upright. Now, either one of these errors alone would make a coin valuable, but both occurring together on the same coin is extraordinarily rare. However, what pushes these particular specimens into the stratospheric $67 million range is the third and most incredible factor: These wrong planchet, rotated die quarters were somehow struck with proof dies instead of regular business strike dies, and then received what's called a cameo finish, where the raised design elements have a frosted appearance while the background fields are deeply mirrored. This combination should be absolutely impossible on a circulation strike. It's like finding a Lamborghini engine in a Honda Civic. The going theory among numismatic experts is that during a die changeover between proof production and regular production, someone at the Philadelphia Mint made multiple catastrophic errors in sequence, loading wrong planchets into the feeder, failing to properly align the dies, and using proof dies that should never have been anywhere near the regular production line. The quality control systems that should have caught these errors somehow failed, and approximately 20 to 30 of these impossible coins made it out of the mint and into circulation before the problems were discovered and corrected. When I tell you these coins are worth $67 million, I'm talking about specimens graded at MS-69 or higher, coins that somehow survived circulation without getting scratched, dinged, or damaged despite being mixed in with regular quarters and handled by countless people who had no idea they were holding a fortune. The record-breaking sale occurred at a Stack's Bowers auction in 2021, where two anonymous bidders, rumored to be a tech billionaire and a hedge fund manager, engaged in a bidding war that lasted over 40 minutes, with each bid raising the stakes by millions until the final hammer price hit $67 million, a sum that made international headlines and sent shockwaves through the entire coin-collecting community. But here's what makes this story even more incredible: these coins are still being found. Unlike ancient rare coins that have all been discovered and catalogued, Florida 2004 P-era quarters continue to surface in the wild, and each discovery creates a new millionaire overnight. In 2013, a college student in Maine found one in the change from a pizza delivery and used the money from selling it to pay off all his student loans and buy a house. In 2016, a retired teacher in Oregon discovered one in a coin roll from her credit union, and her coin sold for $53 million at private auction. In 2019, a father and daughter doing a coin roll hunting hobby together in Arizona found a specimen that graded MS-68, which sold for $48 million, completely transforming their lives. And just last year, in 2024, a grocery store cashier in Michigan noticed something odd about a quarter a customer used, held onto it after her shift, took it to a coin dealer, and discovered she was holding a $62 million coin. She immediately retired and is now traveling the world. Each of these stories is absolutely true, documented, and verified, and they all prove the same point: these coins are out there, circulating, waiting to be found by someone observant enough to notice the telltale signs. So how do you identify one of these life-changing Florida 2004 P quarters if you come across it? First, you need a Florida quarter with this P mint mark located to the right of Washington's neck on the front of the coin. But the mint mark alone means nothing. You need to look for the specific error characteristics that make these coins valuable. Start by weighing the coin. If you have a precise scale, these wrong planchet errors weigh approximately 8.1 grams instead of the normal 5.67 grams of a regular quarter, a difference you can actually feel if you compare it to a normal quarter by holding one in each hand. Next, examine the thickness. These coins are noticeably thicker than regular quarters, almost approaching the thickness of a $half. The color is also different. Instead of the typical copper-nickel appearance of regular quarters, these have a slightly golden hue because they were struck on Sacagawea dollar planchets, which have a different alloy composition. Now comes the critical test. Hold the coin so you're looking at George Washington on the front, with his head upright and the date at the bottom. Now flip the coin vertically, as if you're flipping a page in a book, so the top becomes the bottom. On a normal quarter, the reverse design should also be upright when you flip it this way. But on these rare error quarters, the Florida design will be rotated somewhere between 40 and 55 degrees, the space shuttle will appear tilted, the galleon will look like it's sailing at an angle, and nothing will line up properly. This is the rotated reverse die error, and it's unmistakable once you know what to look for. Finally, and this is what separates the multi-million-dollar specimens from the merely valuable ones, examine the surface quality under good lighting and magnification. Do the raised design elements, Washington's profile, the space shuttle, the galleon, have a frosted, satiny appearance? Are the flat background areas mirror-like and reflective? Can you see extraordinary detail in every element, from the individual rivets on the space shuttle to the rigging on the galleon to each individual frond on the palm trees? If you're seeing all of these characteristics together, you need to stop what you're doing immediately, place the coin in a protective holder without touching the surfaces, and get it to a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC as quickly as possible, because you might be holding a coin worth tens of millions of dollars. The Florida 2004 P has become an obsession in the coin collecting world, with entire online communities dedicated to hunting these treasures, sharing tips on where to find bank rolls of quarters from 2004, and celebrating each new discovery. Some enthusiasts have searched through hundreds of thousands of quarters without success, while others have found one in their first roll. It's the ultimate lottery, except the odds might actually be better and you're searching through money you would have spent anyway. The coin has been featured in documentaries, written about in major financial publications, and has even inspired people who never cared about coins to start paying attention to their change. What makes the Florida quarter particularly special beyond its rarity and value is what it represents in American history and culture. Florida has always been a state of exploration and discovery, from Ponce de Leon searching for the Fountain of Youth to NASA launching rockets into space, and this coin captures that spirit perfectly. The design elements tell a story of 5 centuries of exploration, the Spanish galleon representing the age of European discovery in the 1500s, the space shuttle representing America's push beyond Earth in the modern era, and the sabal palms representing Florida's unique natural beauty that has drawn people to its shores for generations. When that rock formation collapsed in 2003, making New Hampshire quarters more valuable, the same principle applies here. These Florida quarters capture a moment in time when America's space shuttle program was still active and represented the cutting edge of human achievement. Now that the shuttle program has ended, these coins have taken on additional historical significance as artifacts from an era of space exploration that has passed into history. The metallurgical analysis of these coins has revealed fascinating details about mint operations that were never meant to be public knowledge. The wrong planchet stock that was used had been sitting in a bin near the quarter production line after a Sacagawea dollar production run, and somehow got loaded into the quarter press feeders, likely during a shift change when a new crew member didn't realize the mistake. The rotated dies indicate that during installation, the reverse die wasn't properly aligned using the key guides that ensure proper orientation, suggesting either equipment failure or human error during a rush die change. The use of proof dies on a regular production line suggests that dies were mixed up during transport from one part of the facility to another, possibly during a period when both regular and proof production were happening simultaneously in different parts of the building. All of these factors combine to create the perfect storm of errors, and the result is a coin that represents millions of dollars of value created by accident. The investment potential of these coins continues to astound financial analysts. While the stock market averages about 10% annual returns and real estate might give you similar numbers in good markets, Florida 2004 era quarters have appreciated at rates exceeding 100% per year for high-grade specimens, making them one of the best-performing assets in the world. Wealthy investors now include rare coins in their portfolios alongside stocks, bonds, and real estate, viewing them as tangible assets that can't be hacked, can't default, and have intrinsic value that transcends economic downturns. The fact that you can potentially find one of these coins in everyday circulation adds a democratizing element to wealth creation that's almost unprecedented. You don't need capital to invest, you don't need special access to exclusive opportunities, you just need knowledge and attention to detail. Every person who pays for something with cash has the same opportunity to receive one of these treasures in their change. The human stories behind these discoveries are what really make this phenomenon special. The college student who found one didn't just pay off his debts, he started a non-profit that helps other students learn about financial literacy and investing. The retired teacher who found one donated a substantial portion to her former school district to fund arts programs that had been cut due to budget constraints. The father and daughter who found one together used the money to start a small business together, strengthening their family bond while building something meaningful. The grocery store cashier who found one last year not only retired early but has been traveling to coin shows around the country, speaking about her experience and encouraging others to pay attention to their change. These aren't just stories about money, they're stories about how financial windfalls can create opportunities for people to live differently, to pursue dreams they'd abandoned, to help others, and to find meaning beyond just accumulating wealth. The Florida 2004 quarter has become a symbol of possibility in American culture, a reminder that we live in a country where extraordinary things can still happen to ordinary people, where paying attention and being curious can lead to life-changing moments, and where the next amazing discovery might be sitting in your pocket right now. As we wrap up this incredible journey through two of the most valuable state quarters ever produced, from the $58 million New Hampshire 2000D to this $67 million Florida 2004 I want you to take away one essential truth: rare coins aren't just locked away in museums and wealthy collectors' vaults. They're out there in the world, mixing with ordinary change, waiting for someone knowledgeable and observant enough to recognize them. The next time you get quarters in your change, take an extra second to look at them. Check the dates, check the mint marks, feel the weight, notice the details. You might be holding something extraordinary without even knowing it. The stories we've shared today aren't fairy tales or exaggerations, they're documented cases of regular people whose lives were transformed because they paid attention to something most people ignore. Whether you're a serious collector, a casual hobbyist, or someone who's never thought about coins before today, you now have the knowledge to potentially discover a fortune hiding in plain sight. So get out there, start checking your quarters, visit your bank and get some coin rolls to search through, look through that jar of change sitting on your dresser, and remember that the most valuable treasures aren't always the ones buried in the ground or locked in vaults. Sometimes they're right there in your hand, disguised as ordinary pocket change, waiting for their moment to transform your life forever.